All right, hello everybody. It looks like people are starting to roll into the room. It's just about noon. We'll probably give that minute or two as people come in to let everybody get here. Um, Thank you all for coming. I see we've got about 10 people so far. Some names I recognize there, people I've met and people that I haven't. So again, thank you guys all for coming. We've just got a couple minutes here, so it's always nice to see people where people are from, locationally, what universities. So if you guys don't mind throwing that in the chat, that would be wonderful. Um, Gives me something to talk about while everything's quiet here for a few minutes too. So let me just get that chat open. See if anybody will help me out with that yet. Um, I see Teresa from Salve Regina. Thanks for coming, Teresa. Good to see you. And like I said, we'll give a minute or two to let people filter in, and then we'll start going, talk a little bit about the Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge. So again, thank you guys for being here today to learn a little bit more and hopefully help get your students involved. And that's what we're all about. And we'll get going in just a minute to talk more about that. And like I said, if you guys want to throw something in the chat as far as where you're, oh, let's see. Teresa says the chat is disabled. Okay. Nicole, if you could, let's see, let me try it.
All right, it's fixed now. Thanks, Teresa.
All right, thank you. All right, the chat is enabled.
I enabled it
Perfect.
to everyone to see it, but only us could chat. But now you can chat.
All right, thank you, Nicole. All right, now if people want to throw in kind of where you're coming from, what university you're at, that'd be great to kind of see where everybody is. I'm here in Tucson. All right, there we go, New Hampshire. University of Houston Clear Lake and Financial Education Association. That's great. North Carolina Wilmington, welcome. Temple, it's great to see. Salve Regina, yeah, Teresa, good to see you. Tennessee Chattanooga, all right, we got lots of good representation all over the country, all different schools. So thank you guys all for coming. We're at about 19 right now. We'll give it just a little bit more time and I'll kind of formally start going through the program here. NC State, Okanagan, hopefully I'm saying that right, college in British Columbia, welcome. University of Idaho, Western Kentucky again. Fantastic. It's great to see such breadth of people joining. University of Oregon, Eric, good to see you. Eric was actually at the Active Cell conference in Las Vegas that I'll tell you guys a little bit about at the end. So a couple of people with experience and probably a lot of you are very new to this. University of Houston, Clear. Fantastic. All right, well, we gave the couple minutes, so let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to flip over here on my view. Nicole, if you want to pin me, that way my screen is big, that would be fantastic. All right, so I'm just going to jump in here and start talking about why we're all here. And kind of to give you guys that perspective, I want to start out just with a quote that we have from our provost. The quote itself is not that important, but it's basically this idea that Excel is critical to our students. I think the fact that you're here is you probably understand that already, but that is ultimately why I got involved in this, why I founded the MECC, to get students more Excel in their careers sooner. So that's why we're here. I guess a few ground rules while we're on this is that, if you guys have questions, please put them in the Q&A. I've got about 15 minutes of prepared remarks to go through, and then the rest of the time we just want to have kind of that open discussion, and Nicole will help jumping in and kind of moderate that and get me the questions. So Nicole, if anything comes in as we're talking, please feel free to interrupt, but otherwise I'll kind of jump in and hopefully we can get a good discussion going. All right, so what is the MECC? So first, it's a free program for your students, right? We'll talk a little bit about how it's funded in a little while, but it's meant to supplement your curriculum. Really to be an add-on to give students that Excel access, skills, data analytics, problem solving, basically give them the ability to do these things and do it sooner in their careers, right? We want students to be ready for those internships, for their jobs, and often they don't get enough in class. And so that's why we're putting the MECC together. We're going into our third season now. We just launched back in January, and we're just growing bigger and bigger, and we'll tell you more about that as I go. What we are primarily is a way to, again, engage students with Excel, and we do it in a gamified way. So it's going to be two primary ways that I'll get through, but one are basically challenges that have walkthrough videos that you can think about more as training. This is a way for students to gain new skills, to do it with walkthrough videos so they can really kind of have their hand held and go at their own pace. The other are competitions that allow students to kind of see where they are and see how they rank against others and kind of show off their skills a little bit more and ultimately have a lot of fun with it as well. So far, we've served over 5,000 students from 600 schools in 90 countries, so we have quite a bit of breadth, but we're looking at you as ways to grow, to get more students engaged, because the more students engaged, the more benefit we're going to see. All right, so as far as what these challenges are, so the first set are training. I know at the top here that these are accessed via XPrep. If you guys aren't familiar, it's basically an automated Excel grading platform that I've used in my classroom, and we've also used with the MECC. It really allows you to automated grade almost anything in Excel and really scale up our operations. So, you know, whether it's 5,000 students or 50,000, we should be able to scale quite well with XPrep that way. Now, what these training challenges are ways for students to learn different pieces of Excel. This year, we're going to focus on personal finance. So we're not finance focused, and this is not necessarily financial modeling focused, although we'll have elements of that. It's really about giving all students access to this, whether it's the business school, whether it's arts and sciences, no matter where you are, we'd like to make Excel accessible. And, you know, I'm a finance professor here at the University of Arizona, so part of my passion is personal finance. So I'd like to be able to bring some of those basic skills in for students. So it's a little bit of training in both. I'll talk about an example here in a second, but the first two challenges we've released this month in February were the calculating your take-home pay from your paycheck, and then also building a savings schedule. And I'll give you an example in just a second. Other challenges that we have are things like keyboarding exercises. One of the most important things in Excel is learning how to work efficiently. That's a lot of what we emphasize throughout our challenges is how can you do something quicker? And so learning keyboard shortcuts is a big part of that. So if your students want a little bit more practice in that, along again with walkthrough videos, we have games built to where they get timed and they can work on improving their time through these keyboarding challenges. And we also have a lot of library of materials we've produced over the last 2 seasons, and that's all available via the XPrep portal as well. So to give you a little bit of idea of how we gamify this, here's a snapshot, kind of a screenshot of the savings towards a goal challenge. So this is one of the personal finance challenges. The motivation is that you're saving towards going to the Las Vegas finals for the MECC this December. And again, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And you can see here, if you look in the top right corner, you have some inputs to your model. One thing that's consistent across what we do is that students are going to have to deal with parameters that are going to give them, that they're going to use to solve a problem. And this is to encourage them to model dynamically, make it so that their model adapts and gives you a new answer when the parameters change. So you'll find whenever you save these files, those parameters change and the answers change as well. The other big component that you can see kind of right behind me, and I'll step a little bit to the side here, is that we give the students the answers. All right, so we have a set of questions, the students need to answer them, and we tell them the correct answers. And like I said, those change as the parameters change. And so the student's job is to build a model that will give those new matching dynamic answers as those parameters change. And part of the gamification here is that we have this button, you know, you verify your answers and make sure they're correct. That way you kind of get that immediate feedback. So there are 2 reasons really to do that. One is the immediate feedback. So students kind of get that endorphin rush when they see you click the thing and it turns green. That's kind of a nice motivating factor. But another reason is that you want to get that feedback so you know and what you don't know. So in this case, you can see that the last answer is incorrect. It highlights as red, and the student knows that's where to go get help. All right, so we're really making these interactive spreadsheets. That way the students can learn from them. And again, there are walkthrough videos that support all of this. So the students, you know, don't have to rely on going to you to answer the questions. They can go to the walkthrough videos and learn themselves. All right, so that's one side of it. It's the training. The other side of the competitions. So also coming through the XPrep portal, and we have a number of different ways that students can engage in competitions. Some are Excel esports battles, and this I'll show you an example of, but it's basically games in Excel. So think about having to wrangle data in a certain way, get into a usable format, and solve some logical problem behind it. We have these as 30-minute cases. We did one in January, and we'll have 3 more this year in February, just on the 29th later this month, and then again in April and September. We're also going to do basically a regional competition for the first time this year with the University of Tennessee, and it's going to be a little more financial modeling focused. For that one, we're going to have qualifications in March. And then in April, we're going to have the live competition at the University of Tennessee. It's really a regional thing, but if you're in that region and interested in attending, please let us know and we can connect you with the organizers there. We also then have a big qualifying online competition in the fall. That's in September and October, where students are going to qualify for both spots in the finals at the end of the year, but also for getting their costs covered to travel to the finals. That way, it's not all on the students in that case. And finally, we'll have the finals in Las Vegas in December, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end. Now, what do the competitions look like? So a couple examples here. You can imagine a challenge to figure out what your best cell phone plan is based on your data usage over the last year. So imagine a big data set of voice calls, data usage per day, per website, however you want to split it, and then figure out how much that would cost you under various cell phone plans. We also had a challenge before that looked at reviews of products and looking for certain words in those products. You can imagine like a negative and a positive word list and rating how positive or negative the review was, a lot like natural language processing models do. We're not going that far by any means, but we're trying to give students exposure to these ideas in the cases so they kind of have an idea of how these different models, these more advanced things like AI start to work. And then finally, the example I'll show you is playing rock, paper, scissors. So here it'd be kind of like a screenshot of what you're doing. And you guys all know probably the rules of rock, paper, scissors. What makes it interesting in Excel is when you have the data that you have to, again, kind of wrangle or mold into a usable form. So in this case, you can see we have games 1, 2, 3, and 4. And, it wouldn't just be 4 games. We'd give them a lot more than that. And then player A and player B, and then what symbol they choose, whether it's rock, paper, or scissors. So the challenge then for the student is to take that data, get it into a usable format, and then start applying logic to it. That way you can figure out who wins game 1, game 2, game 3, et cetera, and who might win a match in a rock, paper, scissors game. So you can see how we would build up from there, hopefully. All right, so why should students do this? The biggest reason is to learn more Excel, right? To learn Excel, learn how to work with data, how data can be arranged. I really view Excel as kind of an entry point into data analytics. It's easier to start when you can visualize something versus going straight to coding in something like Python, as an example. And so ideally here, the students are going to gain confidence and modeling skills by participating. We make it fun, like I said, to try to get that kind of extra level of engagement. So those are kind of the implicit incentives, but I know students respond more to explicit incentives. So to that end, we also have badges. So the way the badges work is if a student completes 6 tasks, so be that training challenges or competitions within a 4-month period. So, January to the end of April is our first period this year. Then they'll earn a badge that they can post on LinkedIn to show off their achievements. That way, instead of students just listing Excel on their resume, like so many do, they actually have something to point to and then talk to employers about and talk about the skills they've learned. Another reason is prestige, right? If you want to show off your skills, you're good at Excel, this is a great way to do it. The competitions are not only fun, but they are a great way to learn. So I think that's another big element to it. And the last one listed here is basically job opportunities, right? We have a lot of corporate sponsors. That's ultimately where our funding comes from because these corporate sponsors want to hire the best students. And what we're doing is we're attracting students who want to learn Excel and want to do so in a problem-solving way. And those are very attractive potential employees for these sponsors. So that's where our funding comes from. And we want to really connect these students to those sponsors as well. As far as the commitment from students, we estimate about 1 to 2 hours a month. If a student really wants to dive in and try all the past challenges and really get ready to compete in Vegas, then great, they're going to spend more time. But for an average student that wants a little bit of exposure, a lot of these like training challenges, the videos are 15 minutes. It might take them, 15 minutes to an hour to go through it along with the video. So you're really looking at like that 1 to 2 hours range per month for students. All right, as far as those sponsors go and who's hiring the students, Microsoft is one of our headline sponsors, but we also have companies like Alvarez and Marsal, which does financial consulting, Equity Methods, located close to us in Scottsdale, BDO, one of the national accounting consultancies, and Siemens, New York Life, other really big national companies that are looking to recruit students. We also have a number of organizations that just want to support students in pursuing Excel, like OM Automation, our local CFA society. I'll get out of the way for a second. They're actually very supportive in helping us get more of U of A students involved. So I think there's actually lots of possibility for local CFA chapters to also get involved. And, the CFA Institute was part of the reason a lot of you came today. And they're actually working with us right now to become a sponsor for this season as well. So a lot of exciting sponsors, and we're always looking for more people that want to, again, get access to the students to hire them, but also just really support students in their endeavors to get better. All right, so why should you partner with the MECC? Essentially, partnering with us is easy. I'll talk about the steps on the next slide, but the big benefits here are that we're going to give you all the pre-built materials you need to reach out to students. We want to make this as minimal a lift as possible for you. So we have pre-built marketing materials, pre-built emails, basically all the resources you need to reach out to students, we're going to provide you very easily. The next piece is that we're also going to give you data. One of the best ways to engage students with the MECC is to make it part of your class. Depending on what your class is, it might be keyboarding exercises, just get more efficient in Excel, or it could be personal finance challenges, or it could be the competitions. But whatever it is, we're going to provide data to you basically each month on what students have done what challenges. So because, again, we have this automated grading system, it's pretty easy for us to generate these reports. That way you can see which of your students have done which of the challenges. And then the last piece, and we'll talk about teams in a minute, is you can use that data to identify the best students at your school to potentially form a team that you could then send to Las Vegas for our finals this December. Now, what does it take to actually be kind of a partner? We actually call, if you want to join with us, we would call you a college ambassador. We're looking for you to really just be a link from us to the students, encouraging students to get involved and to basically better themselves through our program. What we need from you is basically an email address, right? With your email address, we'll send out an update about once a month. That way you know what's going on, what's coming up, what announcements you can make to the students. The other thing we give you is once we have your email address, we can set up a shared folder. U of A uses Box, so it's a Box folder, but think about it the same as Dropbox or OneDrive or any of these kind of Google Drive type shared folder services. And that's where we're going to deliver the marketing resources, the emails, things like example syllabus language if you want to incorporate it as extra credit into your class, and then also that student completion report or that data that you need. All right, so we're going to basically make it, again, as easy as possible on you. Really, we just need that email address to get going. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, and really the last thing before we kind of open up to questions, are the 2024 finals. So we do have tentative dates, and these are like 99% set, but December 2nd through 4th. That's the Monday through Wednesday, right after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is going to be really late this year. U of A at least has finals 2 weeks after this. I know some schools might have finals that overlap a little bit. And if that's the case, we're sorry. We tried to pick a date that would be best for kind of the most students possible and still making it an end of the year event. So the finals are set for those dates pretty much. What it is, it's going to be a 3-day event this year. So Monday through Wednesday is bigger than what we've done the last 2 years when we had it here in Tucson. And that's because we're marrying this with a conference. Not only the conference, the Active Cell Conference, but also with the Microsoft Excel World Championship, which is the professional version of the competition. So really, we're bringing everything together in one big exciting event in Las Vegas. What the conference is, and this is, I think, a lot of the appeal to bringing your students and bringing a team of students, is that they're going to get exposure to professional Excel trainers from all around the world in all different topic areas. I took 2 of my students this fall to the first Active Cell in Vegas, and they were blown away by the amount that they would learn. I actually felt like I learned a lot, even though I've been doing this and teaching for quite a while. There were experts on Power Query, Power BI, DAX, which is the programming language in Power Query. There was an Excel product manager that was coming in to talk about the new developments. We were learning about Copilot and AI and how that integrates with Excel. There's just so much to learn. And so for your advanced students, this is a great way to kind of understand the potential of the technology. And again, this is Excel specific, but once you understand that this stuff can be done in Excel, you understand it can be done more broadly. And that's what I think is really important for students to understand is the capabilities of technology. Excel is just one good platform to learn it in that is particularly accessible. So we'll have 3 days of conferencing during the day, and then each evening we actually have the competition. So we'll have the MECC finals. We'll have 16 teams that will have a place in the HyperX esports arena, which is the big esports arena in Las Vegas, a big professional setup. We have room to fit in 16 teams and also 64 individual finalists. So we have a lot of people that we're inviting to the finals, again, to compete in that esports arena. And that'll all be integrated with the pros. So right alongside the pros competing. So beyond the learning opportunities and the competition, there's also great networking opportunities, both with the pros and with the sponsors that come that want to hire these students. All right. Last thing before we get to questions is how do you get to the finals? All right. So both individuals and teams can qualify throughout the year. The first way is through these semi-monthly competitions we have. So in January, we had a competition. The top 5 individual students all qualified and have their spot in the Vegas finals in the esports arena locked up. Their one team also qualified. And the way we qualify teams is you take the top 3 scores of students in that school, and whoever has the highest sum of the top 3, that team qualifies. All right, so we have one team and 5 individuals in so far. We'll have 4 more of those competitions throughout the year, so that'll be 25 individuals and 5 teams that way. We're also going to qualify in 5 teams based on school rankings. So this is going to be independent of the competition. And what the school rankings are based on is based on student participation. So we really want to encourage students to get their classmates involved. We want to encourage you to get your own students involved. And so each school is going to be given a score each month based on the number of students that have signed up, and raise that to the 1/2 power, and then multiply that by the average number of challenges they've completed. So we want students engaged with lots of challenges and tasks, and the more students, the better. So we'll rank schools, and once we get to October, we'll take the top 5 schools, and they're going to qualify as well to the Vegas finals. The last way to get in is by coming to Vegas. We want lots of teams involved. And so the very first night of competition, that Monday evening, is going to be an open competition to anybody that's in Las Vegas for the conference. And what's going to happen is everybody, both individuals and teams, will be given a case to do. This is what we call the last chance qualification round. And the beauty of it is, again, anybody can qualify into the finals that start in the esports arena the next day. And we'll have 15 individuals and 5 teams that qualify through that route. So really, what I'd love to see is lots of professors bringing teams of students, 3, 4, 5. I hope to bring about 12 students from the University of Arizona. They can't all be on the team, obviously. We'll have 3 people per team. But I think that many students will benefit from the educational opportunities and the networking opportunities that will present themselves at the conference. So with that all said, how do you get involved? All right. So email our main info box, info@mecc.college, and we'll set you up as a college ambassador, get your email enrolled that way. You can also send me an email directly. I realize I didn't put this on here, but dcbrown@arizona.edu. I'll actually throw that up in just a second. And you can also get a team of students involved, right? Talk to your department chair, talk to your dean. Deans tend to love this. It's a great way to get students engaged in more Excel, more technical training. And so sending a team to the finals in Vegas is a great way to, enhance the education for them and really spread it around your campus too and build some campus pride around that. So with that, I think I got through everything I wanted to say, and I know I threw a lot out there. So let me open it up to questions. So I know
David,
it takes.
I have one question. Is average challenges per student calculated based on how much of the activities they complete?
It's based on whether they turn it in or not. We know students sometimes have trouble getting the challenge to exactly work, and sometimes the grading doesn't work 100% correct. So it's based on how many they submit. So as long as they've basically downloaded the challenge, worked on it, and submitted it back up, regardless of the score, we're going to give them credit for having submitted that challenge. All right. Thank you, Nicole, for putting my email in the chat there. All right, let's see. I'm seeing the chat. Thank you for putting that out. And please feel free to put more questions in the Q&A based on things that come to mind. I will say, just as we're waiting for questions to come in, I saw some chat about financial modeling, and we are having the financial modeling challenge. That's the Tennessee challenge is a little bit more based on that, partly because it's the finance department there that's sponsoring it. And so we do have general modeling challenges as well as financial modeling challenges. The financial modeling stuff tends to be more your traditional three statement models, or, let's model out EBITDA and put some free cash flow multiples into something and get a value. Because that's very finance specific, we shy away from that in most of the regular competitions, unless it's very simple and easy to explain to somebody that, maybe they have a math or computer science background, but know nothing about business, because we want to keep it kind of equal playing grounds for the main competitions. But we do have kind of those separate competitions that'll have a little bit more emphasis on the financial modeling aspect.
David, we have two people asking pretty much the same question. Basically, who can compete as far as students? Are they undergrad, graduate?
Yeah.
What do the students have to do?
Any student that is at a degree granting institution, undergraduate or graduate, is okay. The last 2 years, we've had about 30% to a third of students as graduate students. And as far as the finals, we've seen similar proportions in the finals. So originally, when I founded this, I was a little worried that we needed to have grad and undergrad students separate. We have not really found that to be the case. So we've had undergraduates win, we've had graduates win, and kind of they tend to compete at pretty similar levels, at least as what we've seen so far.
And David, do you want to go over like what would the requirements be to go to the finals in Vegas, like age restrictions, things like that?
Right. You do have to be 18. And we will need somebody. So if an 18-year-old goes by themselves to Vegas, a lot of times they cannot check into the hotels. So they would have to, if they are trying to do that, they'd have to figure out how to get a hotel themselves. We were making a deal with the Luxor to get a block of hotel rooms there. That's where the HyperX Esports Arena is. And you need to be 21 to check in, or have somebody that's 21 there with you. So if there's a faculty sponsor, that'll work as far as getting them checked into the hotel in Vegas. But you do need that 21 is kind of the hotel check-in threshold. And again, just if you have a group of students, just one of them needs to be 21. But 18 is the minimum age to actually compete in the finals. Thanks for bringing that one up, Nicole.
Yeah, and we have another question, which you kind of answered it already. Do we have different divisions?
Not yet. I mean, the extent with which there are different divisions are the teams versus the individuals. So the individuals, again, it's 64 people that will start in the esports arena. We eventually play that down to 12 people that we can put on stage and really broadcast out. I will mention that it will be broadcast again on ESPNU this year. Each of the last 2 years, we did a 1-hour special on ESPNU. So it's great to get that visual, to get that kind of exposure. So I think some students really kind of respond to that. So we'll have the 12 individual students that will eventually be kind of on the stage competing on ESPN. And then we also have the team version. So 16 teams that'll fight for the team championship. Each team is going to be 3 players. And those challenges are a little bit more built to the students working together, even though they're all going to work in their own spreadsheets. We find ways to either get different components that they can work on separately. And so there is a teamwork element to it and kind of strategic interaction that plays a role there. But that's the extent we have the 2 different divisions right now.
All right, we have a few questions that rolled in, so
great.
I want to make sure we get all these in. The first question is, what is the cost of accessing the XPrep platform for the MECC?
0. No cost to the students to access the XPrep platform. When you sign up at our website, so that's the mecc.college, it'll give you a course code that you can use in XPrep. So if your student's already on XPrep, all they have to do is put in the course code and it's completely free. Otherwise, you have to set up a simple XPrep account. It's very straightforward, and then put that course code in. And again, it's free access for everything for the students. The only time that they would incur a cost would be coming to the finals. And what our experience has been is that schools have found ways to cover those costs for the students.
All right, perfect. And then Priya is asking, do we provide lectures to students about how and what to work and what to practice? So how do we guide the students through the program?
So the guidance is really through the training challenges that we put out. So this semester, it's going to be those personal finance challenges where we're showing them different ways to use functions. Basically, I build that curriculum with building towards some of the Excel esports know-how along the way. So that's one great way to do it. The best way to do it, though, is for the students to just start trying the challenges. The ones that we do, for example, in January, when we do these challenges, the students try it. They have a half hour to do the challenge. And then about 15 minutes later, we start a YouTube broadcast where several people are trying it live with commentators discussing the case, discussing ways to solve it, discussing how the competitors on the screen are trying to solve it right then. So watching those videos, so both the walkthrough videos we publish, but also videos of people doing the challenges give you a lot of insight into other ways to solve problems. Personally speaking, my Excel skills have skyrocketed in the last couple of years. One, because Excel has changed so much with all the new dynamic array functions. So I've learned a lot about those. But really, that has all come about from watching other kind of Excel esports athletes post videos and find the resources of what they're doing.
Perfect, thank you. Fritz wants to know if we have a professor level division or if we've considered it.
I would love to have one. We have not done it yet. I can imagine in the future doing it almost like a professor paired with a student, like almost like a pro-am type thing would be great. I think we're starting to see more professors get involved. Like Eric Kelly at Tennessee is working with me on the financial modeling competition there. If you want to get more involved too, I would love to have you help write cases and start that professor division. Maybe we could do a professor specific battle in the next few months to highlight that and get our students involved. That's something, we work very closely with the Financial Modeling World Cup, which is the pro version. So if we have 4 professors that want to do a challenge one month, I can make that happen.
Great. So Stephen is asking what's the timeline for the fall to choose a team? I know there's payments and stuff, so do we have those dates decided yet?
We don't have dates pinned down yet. What I will say about choosing a team is you don't have to nail down the team members themselves until you figure out who goes to Vegas with you. We had this problem last year, and that at least one of the teams, I think there might have been more, had a student that couldn't end up making it. One had COVID. I think there were some other last minute changes of plans where they found substitutes. But I think it's probably a good idea to bring 4 or 5 students if you're trying to field a team of 3. One, again, to give students the exposure to the experience and all the networking and learning that can happen. But that also makes sure you have enough people there to compete. So that'll be in the fall, though. We actually, in middle October is when we announce the students that have kind of earned their travel expenses being compensated by being ranked high enough. And so kind of mid-October is the deadline you should be really thinking about.
And to add on to that, as I handled all the communications for the 2023 finals, I feel like the sooner you provide us student information, the better. We had some teams that had last minute changes or decided last minute, a few weeks before, and those students, when they provided us feedback about the event, definitely felt a little more as fish out of water than the students that have been getting our communication for a few months. So just a suggestion on that. Ranjini, I am going to send a follow-up email either today or Monday, depending on when the recording completes on the cloud. And I will make sure that we include some sample questions and solutions, probably maybe a case or two, David, that the faculty can look over so y'all can see what your students would be experiencing in the program.
Yeah, and feel free to sign up yourselves for the at MECC.college. There's an option when you click through to sign up as a faculty or staff member. So you can sign up and get full access to everything as well. That way you can see what the students are doing. And I know several of the faculty members that got involved last year. I see their names every month trying out the challenges. So it's kind of fun to see that they're doing it as well.
I also, that's a good point, David, recommend signing up as a professor in our program because you will receive the same email students receive, such as what is posted, the cases are available. We're spoilers, next week we're sending out jobs that our sponsors would like to communicate to our students. So you'll receive all those as well. We won't remove those people that are not students. Oh, David, we have a question from Teresa. If we have an XPrep account from last year, do we need a new access code or should we sign up again via MECC website?
You don't need to sign up again via the MECC website. The same access code will continue working. That XPrep course is basically a perpetual course that will carry over from semester to semester, year to year. So right now, if you click into it, you'll see that there are current MECC challenges. That's where everything that counts towards the badge for this spring is in. But we also have past challenges in another folder. That way you can dig through anything that you want to see from both past finals, past training challenges, etc. So it should all live in the same spot.
Perfect. Chris has a question. If we have an expression problem, who do we contact?
An XPrep problem?
I think that's what he meant.
Yeah,
unless expression is something I'm not aware of in Excel.
So the best thing on the XPrep side is contact at excelpreparation.com. That's their help desk, and they will get back very quickly. If it's something that like access to XPrep and that kind of thing, that's where to go. If it's more about a case not working or some error in the case itself, the info at mecc.college is the best way to go for those.
And I will say that XPrep is very good at answering quickly or CCing us on questions that actually involve the MECC program, like badges or actual things in the case itself.
Yes.
Karen asked, do we need to use our school emails when signing up for the faculty account? No, you don't. You can sign up with whatever email you prefer to get notifications from us. When you sign up, there is a question asking you if you already have an XPrep account with a different email address. So you don't, we updated that this year, so you don't have to use the one you're using in XPrep. So whichever one you want us to email.
One thing I'll add to that is when your students sign up, I would really encourage them to sign up with their school email address. Ultimately, they can do whatever they want. But as far as the XPrep goes, with XPrep, if they use their school email address, it's going to be much easier for you to link their performance on those challenges to your gradebook. I'll also note though that they can sign up for MECC with a Gmail account, for example, and give us their XPrep account. That way we can all link it together. So we do want the students giving us the email that they're going to check. So if they want to do Gmail, but just make sure that XPrep email that they use is related to their school account.
And I will say that that's what we've seen mostly, is students might give us a Gmail when they sign up, but they typically already have an XPrep account for their school. Stephen asked, is there any marketing material to post with student-led organizations? Yes, Stephen, if you want to be an ambassador for your school, you can email us or just say yes here and I'll add you and I'll send you that. What we do is we create a dedicated box folder for each of the schools we work with in case you need specific made for your school, but we can provide templates that we've already created that were handed out like at our career center here at University of Arizona that actually went quite well. So yes, we can provide all that for you.
Yeah, and if you're multiple people at your school want to be a college ambassador, all the better. We can add you all to the same account, give you access to that same box folder, so it can be more than one person per school.
David, how did they get more information about the regional challenges in Tennessee?
So that I'd say email me, so dcbrown@arizona.edu. And I will put you in contact with Eric Kelly. So Eric's the main organizer there, but we can basically relay that information and hopefully get you involved that way. All right, perfect. I see some other emails coming in the chat. So yeah, perfect. I see that Nicole get you guys set up. Any other questions? Thank you guys all for a very vibrant discussion and lots of thoughts.
David, do you want them to email you or the info box about an ambassador?
I think the easiest, cleanest way is to the info box. But if you want to email me, I'll make sure it gets handled as well. So either way will work. The info box is probably going to be the most direct way to make it happen. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions that we can answer for you today? And if you think of something later, you can always shoot us an email too. So if we sign up in mecc.college, we get XPrep access that way too. Yeah, so what happens when you sign up, you register on our website, and then the landing page after you register gives you instructions on how to set up an XPrep account. It tells you how to set one up if you don't have one, or if you do have one, how to add the classroom code, and then we give you the classroom code on the screen and in an email. So you just go over to XPrep and put that in, and then that gives you access to the MECC resources on their platform.
Perfect. And thank you all for coming. I just want to reiterate that we really appreciate you guys coming. You know, we're building the program out, and ultimately it's you that link to the students and inspire the students to participate and really engage them. My success here at U of A has been a process over a few years. So don't get frustrated if it takes a little while to build it up. I think I started our financial modeling club here, 3 or 4 years ago, and we'd have 5 to 10 students per meeting. Now we have 150 people in the club, and we have like 650 students signed up for the MECC. So it's something that once the students get a hold of it, they really embrace and kind of tell their friends, and it really gets a foothold. It just takes a little bit of time, and hopefully we facilitate that process for you all, so it's a lot quicker process and we get a lot more engagement that way.
Great, I'm just checking to make sure we got all the questions and I have documented everyone that I need to reach out to. David, I'm not at the bottom of the chat. Do we have any more?
I see. Can we get the slides sent to us? Yeah, I think we can include the slides with the recording when we send that out next week. That's a great idea.
Yes, most definitely. And thank you for saying next week, because who knows when the cloud will finish processing.
Right.
Perfect. So we will include a link to this recording, the slide deck. We'll get a case or two together to send over to y'all so you can review that. And then you can reply if you need anything else after that, or, shoot us an email as well, and we'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
That's fantastic. And thank you, Nicole, for running the webinar. It was great. And thank you guys all for coming. Thank you all.